What is wrong with you? Why would you do that? So why do we act like that in our spiritual journey? Because you're going to realize that when you say, hey, demon, let's have this cup of tea, that demon's going to mess you up. And guess what? You're going to be mad now. You're going to be mad, you're going to be sick, and you're going to be negative. These thoughts can act independently from you. Yes, they can. That's true. How do we know this? Because how the frick was you just chilling, then the thought just came through? You didn't choose to just think that thought. It just came through. Just stop using the character. You don't really kill it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't kill something that was never alive. That was it's your boy Dot from Dot Me Not Culture for a Culture Session, link down below. I want you to imagine that. Now, I'm not saying that you're in hell right now, because that's not what I'm saying at all. But imagine that you're in hell, right? You're in hell, the earth is above you, and then heaven is right above that. And then there's a ladder that you could just climb up to get to heaven. Would you choose to stay in hell and go like, this is so amazing? Or would you climb up the ladder to get to heaven? You would freaking climb that ladder. That's what spirituality is. People think spirituality is just about just becoming this positive and peaceful person. No. Another beautiful day in hell. Don't you just love the smell of death, and oh my god, the sound of the souls being tortured. Oh my, it's lovely down here. Bro, where's the pit, bro? Yo, where's the throw his goofy at? There's a difference between having the goal to be peaceful and having the goal to become spiritual, and peace is a byproduct of you achieving that goal. You're not supposed to just be like, oh yeah, I'm just this old nice woo-woo person. No, it's not about that. It's about realizing that you are not identified with who you truly are, and you're trying to get to that. And getting to that may be hard. Like if you're in hell, right? Trying to climb up that ladder to get to heaven, right? There might be demons pulling you down. What you gonna do? Say, hey demon, let's have a cup of tea. What is wrong with you? Why would you do that? So why do we act like that in our spiritual journey? Because you're gonna realize that when you say, hey demon, let's have this cup of tea, that demon's gonna mess you up. And guess what? You're gonna be mad now. You're gonna be mad, you're gonna be sick, and you're gonna be negative. When you could have just been climbing up your ladder and said, know what, demon? No tea. You could have been just a little bit mean to a freaking demon, but instead you want to let the demon mess you up, and now you demonic with the demons. And it's like, what the heck's going on? You're not even climbing the ladder no more. You just messed up. And then when you finally get over it, you're like, okay, demon, fine, I forgive you. Now you want to forgive the demon, try to climb up, and then you're like, you know what, demon, let's have some more tea. What is going on here? If you want to forgive the demon, I'm not even saying you can't do that. Wanda, why are you forgiving the demon? Because it's low-key your fault for even having tea with the guy. It's like, why you mad at the demon when it was your fault? So if you want to forgive yourself too, though, so you know what I'm saying. Don't just get on yourself. That's not it. Because when you're getting on yourself, that's not you. For real, for real. Hope you know that. But understand, like, bro, you need to become your true self, and that involves fighting through two aspects. The party that's trying to freaking survive, and the party that may be freaking traumatized. Because as human beings, right, we're naturally trying to survive. Then when you get traumatized, you're a traumatized being that's trying to survive. I was trying to be some rhyming cool. You're a traumatized being trying to survive. Imagine how that's gonna go. You see what I'm saying? So it's like people try to ignore that side of themselves and then just become peaceful woo-woo. And then build up trauma survivable, and then he come out or she come out, and they're like, you possessed or something? And it's like, shoot, maybe you are possessed by these intelligences that you're not looking at. How about you look at them and then free yourself from them? But what's real possession? See, angels and demons and gods and goddesses are just within inside of the unconscious mind.
If you're possessed by a demon, you're possessed by an idea and a certain intelligence. Understand that when you have a good idea, them Jones be good and smart and intelligent. Same with the negative ideas that possess people also. It's just an idea possessing you, but ideas are deep.
I made a video about how people worship the deep recesses of their unconscious mind. And it's not just me saying this. It's not just me. The Egyptians said it. I see YouTubers saying it. People know this. It's not just me. No, I'm not mad. I'm not. I'm making it a big point, so I'm letting y'all know that I ain't just, oh, this sounds cool. It didn't just sound cool. It's real. It's real. With that being said, understand that when certain thoughts and stuff flow through you and stuff like that, right? It's not just a thought. But at the same time, because it's not just a thought, it's actually easier to get rid of. People can't stop thinking certain thoughts because they're identified with their thoughts, and the thoughts aren't even them. They're separate intelligences acting through them. These thoughts can act independently from you. Yes, they can. That's true. How do we know this? Because how the frick was you just chilling, then the thought just came through? You didn't choose to just think that thought. It just came through. It acted independently from you. Then you identify with it and say, this is me. So you keep it around. If you say this is not me, this is a separate thing. It's easier to just be like, yeah, get away. You know what I'm saying? But people think that it's actually them. So your thoughts are not just your thoughts. No, thoughts are actual intelligences that can act independently from you. What people call spirits. But if you understand that, you can say, hey, rebuke, I don't want you. You see what I'm saying? Stop identifying with the thoughts. That's the only time it really bothers you. Because when you think a thought that you don't identify with, it doesn't bother you. Either just passes, or you say, oh, that's crazy, or some other stuff. Stop identifying with the thought. We have what people call demons. You know what I'm saying? So because you have demons doesn't mean that you're not spiritual. You know what I'm saying? Well, it could mean you're not of the spirit in a sense, right? But it doesn't mean that you're not on the spiritual journey, I should say. You know what I'm saying? It just means that you're trying to purify yourself, and you do this when you stop identifying with that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And because you stop identifying with that type of stuff, and you identify with who you truly are, then you start naturally just becoming more positive. You see what I'm saying? So people are trying to become positive without looking at what's inside of them. And what's inside of them is what they have called demons for so long. These intelligences. Either all thoughts are you or none of them is you. And the thing is, none of them are actually you. You know what I'm saying? Technically, none of them are you, but you can help generate the thought. Or you at least sustain the thought with your own awareness. I talked about dead spirits inside my Patreon, link down below. Dead spirits are pretty much just thoughts that don't have awareness of themselves. So even though the thought can act, like, you know how atoms can act independently, but they can't be like, hey, I'm an atom and I just want to unbond from you real quick. Like, they can't do that, but they still have some ability to act based upon the level of intelligence that it has. So some thoughts have more intelligence than others, and pretty much your awareness can sustain a thought. It can sustain an intelligence and make this intelligence live more and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of people think that energy is what technically sustains you. Where does energy come from? Energy comes from awareness. You know what I'm saying? Electromagnetic waves, radiation, and light, they're all the same thing. That comes from awareness. You know what I'm saying? Because awareness becomes aware of itself, which makes it gain intelligence. It makes it gain knowledge. And because it has that knowledge, it can also act out that knowledge. And when it acts out that knowledge, it makes electric charges and waves, which eventually produce magnetic waves. That makes electromagnetic radiation. Then you get light. And then you get this whole reality.
If you didn't understand that, watch my Psychology and Spiritual PowerPoint. I talked about it, and also watch the one that's coming up called The Creation of the Universe PowerPoint. That one's going to talk a lot about it.
So with that being said, right, you are just the observer, right? But you need to, since you are just the observer, you need to observe things. You know what, like that's important. You can't just not observe something that's there. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're holding this inside you, if you're holding it inside your body, you must observe it. So if you're holding negativity inside yourself, you must observe it. You can also hold negativity in your mind in the form of information, memories, ideas, thoughts, beliefs. All of these things are ideas and intelligences that can actually act independently from you. And if these are negative, they get referred to as what they call demons. You know what I'm saying? And then you need to accept it as I'm not saying that it's like you as in your true self, but you need to accept it as a part of you that you have manifested or allowed to manifest, especially if you generated that thought. You can stop sustaining it now and let it go and die inside the ethers, you know what I'm saying? Because technically you are not the thought, but you need to accept that you did help generate this thought. You need to accept that part at least, you know what I'm saying? Long story short, bro, people identify with negative information, thoughts, and beliefs and stuff like that, but they don't want to accept it and observe it. What you're supposed to do is observe it, actually observe it and look at it. Oh, this is kind of negative, and then say, but this is not me. Most people say, I'm not negative at all when they have negativity inside them. That's the difference. Look at it, accept that it's there, and then finally stop identifying with it. And you're going to realize that as you try to stop identifying with it, if you've never done this before, it may be hard to stop identifying with some of the negative things. You thought you were so positive, right? But you finally see the negative stuff and think, I don't want to let that go. I don't want to let this go. Thought you was positive, though. And when it comes to that whole ego death and stuff like that, right? I'm going to make a separate video about that because you can't... See, ego depends on what you define ego as, because ego just means... Ego can either mean your character or your attachment to your character. That's how I use ego. Ego's attachment to the character, you know what I'm saying? But most people use it as the character, but you cannot kill the character, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you can. I mean, you really can't. You kind of just stop using the character. You don't really kill it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't kill something that was never alive. That was fire. Oh my God, that was fire. Oh my God, that was fire. That was fire. That was fire. So I'm going to touch more in depth about ego death, about you versus your thoughts and how to work with them. I'm going to talk about shadow work and how to truly change and heal yourself. I got all that type of stuff coming up. I just wanted to point out how spirituality is not about just becoming super positive and woo-woo automatically. Like, that may happen to you after you complete the journey, but the journey is about becoming of the spirit. You know what I'm saying? Becoming of the non-physical part of yourself, your higher self, God, the source. As you do that, you may have to look at a lot of negative parts of yourself that you identify with and then finally stop identifying with them. People who go like, oh, I'm perfect, everything's perfect. Those people usually identify with negative parts of themselves and don't even realize it. And they don't want to accept it and look at it. And when they finally do look at it, they can't even let it go. You see what I'm saying? So it's about actually going inside yourself, looking at what's holding you back from connecting to your higher self and stuff like that, and then dissolving it. And then you finally get in tune with your higher self, the source, God. And you may become a bit woo-woo or just a regular behind person. Who knows?